More than 75% of the world's countries have tried their hand at producing cars. They have unlimited reasons to do this: financial gain, the love of automobiles, and money laundering schemes. But how does each country make these cars their own? Is it by infusing their own culture in the design, making it sound like they desire, or by putting kangaroos in it to represent Australia? I think that's something they do at least. Today we're going to take a look at how the people, cultures, and customs influence the design of cars in countries all over the world, from the United States to Micronesia. Probably not Micronesia though, I lied. Let's start on the far west of a typical map, America. The US is widely known for two types of cars: muscle cars and trucks. The muscle car gets its origins in 1949 with the Oldsmobile Rocket 88. It's widely considered the first ever muscle car and the first car to utilize a V8 in a more sporty fashion, as opposed to the previous use of V8s, which was used for big cruisers such as the Cadillac Series 62 and the Chevy Bel Air. The Rocket 88 was extremely influential in guiding the way for cars such as the Camaro, Mustang, and that other brick. It created the characterization of muscle cars as being loud, brash, and hard to control. It's a common stereotype around the world that Americans are loud and tend to get out of control sometimes, and if I'm being frank, it makes me proud to be an American. The truck is a bit of a different characterization. Trucks were introduced in the 1920s as a car for farmers. It constitutes hard work and stays true to the phrase, the American dream, which speaks about working hard for success. The notion around America has always been that with some hard work, anybody can make it big and live the life of their dreams, and the pickup truck is just another tool for Americans to use on their path to glory. Let's move down south to our Mexican neighbors. Although not really known for their cars, I want to point out their resident supercar, the Inferno. It boasts a twin-turbo V8 that can power the exotic car to 245 miles per hour. Mainly, however, the car's looks and colors stand out. They're both very flamboyant and slightly reminiscent of the colorful nature of mariachi bands and dresses worn by women during folkloric dance. Now we move to a country a little more interested in making cars, specifically ones that are elegant, luxurious, and driven by people who probably need braces. I'm talking about Britain here, and for the most part, we can find the influence of the country on its cars really easily. Their most standout cars are Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and Aston Martin. I don't really have to explain these, but I will. Each of these cars stands for class and elegance, and since the dawn of time, this is how Brits have thought of themselves. Look at the royal family to James Bond, all characterized as extremely high class, and it's fair to say these cars are as well. The modern wealthy people of Britain also tend to wear extremely muted and neutral colors. This can be seen in a majority of the car's colorways. No flamboyant and exciting colors like we see in Italian and American cars, but rather timeless colors such as gray, black, and white. Another car worthy of mentioning is the McLaren F1, an absolutely legendary car made by the engine is from BMW. I guess the British are known for stealing more than a few things. As an absolute French hater, I've elected to skip them. If you're French, feel free to leave a hate comment. Moving to an infinitely better country, Germany, at least post-1945, we see what I and many others believe to be the pinnacle of car manufacturing. It's said that Carl Benz, you may recognize the name, was the creator of the first ever patented car, the 1886 three-wheeled Benz patent motor car. I guess he wasn't as good as naming them as he was at making them. Since then, we've had the inception of brands such as BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and Porsche. The majority of these cars are in the business of high-end cars that strive for perfection and quality, much like Germans themselves. There's a common stereotype about Germans that they are obsessed with order and perfection. They are also all business and not considered a very funny group of people. These attributes in some way shine through in their car design. Take the BMW 5 Series for example, a car that epitomizes seriousness and is made to the exact specifications of Azerbaijani businessmen. Regardless of your opinion on German cars, and even specific brands in general, it's hard to deny that in terms of quality, these cars are as close as they get to perfection, and credit is earned where credit is due. The Germans have created the best cars for years. What about Italy? The Godfather, gelato, pickpocketers, and supercars. Italian stereotypes are characterized as being very flamboyant, colorful, and exaggerated. Literally the same as any car they've ever made. From Ferrari to Lamborghini to Pagani, the cars boast beautiful colors and extremely loud engines, much like Mario. That's a weird impression of an Italian, sorry. But the point is, Italians are stereotypically exaggerated, and their cars reflect that exceptionally. These cars aren't known for being the most practical or even the most reliable, but they're a hell of a lot of fun to drive, and if I see a good price for even a 100,000-mile Gallardo,
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Let's move a little up north and make a quick pit stop in Sweden. Volvo, Polestar, and Koenigsegg. They're known for having extremely safe cars, extremely reliable, and then for some reason, some random Swede decided to make the most savage and powerful car in the world. Anyway, this country is a bit of a given and doesn't require too much explanation. So far, no country in Africa has broken through into the worldwide car manufacturing market, but who knows, soon enough we could be seeing a Ugandan Lamborghini. Until then, there isn't too much for me to say. If anybody does have a bit more knowledge on the matter, however, feel free to leave it down in the comments for us to learn about. Okay, it's time for what I believe is the next car manufacturing big dog. Historically, China has always been a country notorious for its extreme cost effectiveness. Labor expenses are notoriously much lower here than anywhere else, especially when compared to the Western world. China uses this to its benefit when producing cars. This is seen in their new electric cars such as the Zeekr, XPeng, BYD, NIO, and more. If you're watching this from the US, it's very likely you know little to nothing about these cars because the US bans imports of all of them. I'm here to tell you, however, that these cars are the future. I was recently in Azerbaijan, Amsterdam, and London, all countries that do allow the import of these cars. And I'm not exaggerating when I say these are the only cars I saw. Their range is better than Tesla's, luxury better than Mercedes, and performance better than BMW's. The best part is their price, which is merely a fraction of these other high-end cars. And unless the US continues to disallow these cars, you will be seeing them more than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sees the free throw line. Now that we talked about a prospective big dog, let's talk about the current big dog. Japan. For almost a century now, Japan has been making all sorts of cars. They've made supercars like the LFA and GTR, reliable cars like literally all of them, and even the statistically greatest car of all time, the Toyota Corolla. The connecting point between all of these cars is the values behind them. They're all understated and respectable cars, values which are important to Japanese people themselves and a staple in their culture. Perhaps they genuinely just have a touch for making cars, or maybe making a car with the care and values you hold for yourself sets an extremely high standard, and therefore the product is representative of that. If we drop straight down, we get to the home of my favorite YouTube channel and podcast, Australia. That's a very niche and weird reference, my bad for that one. A common stereotype for Australians is that they're loud, brash, and proud. It's also said that roughly 20% of modern Australians share their ancestry with convicts. I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting fact. Regardless, one person who should be exempt from ever going to jail is the creator of the V8 Holden Ute. The Ute is a car body style that is almost exclusive to Australia, and my goodness, I love it. I get it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it looks super unique, has a whole lot of power, and probably has a funny accent when you rev it. Australia is home to many cars like this. The Holden Commodore, a rebadged Chevy SS, is another car that found great popularity in Australia while struggling to find its feet in the US. Decades ago, many American car companies found success in rebadging and selling their muscle cars in Australia, and some of that culture still sticks to this day. And while Australia itself doesn't have any hand in production anymore, their loud Aussie style is still translated into their muscle cars of yesteryear. There we have it, folks. We've taken a journey into dissecting the impact of culture on cars, starting from the great USA to the land where people walk upside down. If you've enjoyed it, I appreciate a like and subscribe, and if you'd like to say anything, feel free to leave a comment. I read and respond to all of them. Thanks, and have a good day.